the whole Joey Merlino situation. Listen, he's broke. He tried to embarrass Mike Francis. You're not a respected boss when everyone's banging your wife while you're in jail. Right. Bottom line.
All of his fanboys, like, they started leaving comments on my shit.
You know how many messages I get from people in Philadelphia giving me dirt on him? Oh, yeah. A guy from Philly sent me the picture of him in that dress. They hate him over there. I'll never be able to sit at a table with a wise guy and have a sit down for anybody. They'll tell him, get the hell out of here. I was born in Brooklyn, Canarsie, Flatlands in 84th. I lived there till I was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. My mom and dad ended up getting divorced, and I went over to Ozone Park, Queens, which is all Italian, you know, at the time. Right. Mid 92, I want to say, 93. And then I went over to Howard Beach, Queens, which is like, you know, the mafia soap opera of the country. Okay. And that's, you know, basically where my upbringing was, you know, with all the Italians and the related people, should I say, surrounded me, you know, from young. And I lived with my mom, and then my stepdad was Frank. He was a good guy, you know what I mean? I grew up with him. He raised me as well. He wasn't a street guy, you know, total opposite from my dad. My dad was a raving lunatic. I mean, great guy, but, you know, he was just, you know, not a mafia guy, but he was a street guy. Right. You know what I mean? So I had his DNA, should I say. Right. My dad was an armed robber, nut, shooting people, the whole thing. Canarsie nut, did 10 years in prison. But that, like, you know, I followed him. It's scary to say that DNA is real, because I ended up being just like him. You know what I mean? In that aspect, like violent and wild and... You know, when I came up, and then my mom's side was all organized crime. Yeah. A lot of it. I was going to say the DNA thing. It's like everybody's like, oh, it's 50-50 environmental and, you know, nurture versus nature. But the truth is, there's probably 90% nature, you know? I mean, my dad was literally just like me. My mom said when she met him, he would open up his jacket and have guns all over him. I mean, literally stolen cars in front of the house like they were his. He was just, you know, he did shoot somebody. I'm going to say this story. A gay guy hit on him in a barbershop. Right. He went back and shot the guy and did 5 years for that because the guy hit on him in front of people. That's how he was. You know, he was a nut. You know what I mean? So then he calmed down. He became a hard worker. He left, went and got a gun. Came back and shot him in his leg in the barbershop. Wow. And did time for that. Yeah, because the gay guy said he was good looking. All right. I'm not even sure that's even hitting on him. I mean, listen, it's just you can't say that in the 70s. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's like a bad thing. So he was an armed robber as well. He passed away now. He died almost a year from today. Oh, okay. January 21st to be a year he's gone. But you know, like I said, he was a good dad. He was just, you know, a wild guy. He's a hothead, bipolar, all of that. And I feel like I'm exactly who he was. It's scary. DNA is real, man. And I say it's like, you know, even my cousin Johnny Boy. My cousin Johnny Boy was my Uncle Johnny's kid. And my Uncle Johnny was a tough motherfucker at Canarsie. And my cousin was probably 20 times worse than me. Right. He had 4 murders at 20 years old. Right. He was running around shooting and killing people for John Jr. and running with that whole crew. He ended up getting killed by Vito Guzzo. Is that how you know... Right. I'm explaining. It was all around me. That's all. Like I'm trying to tell you. Like that's all we knew. Yeah. So you know, to us, the mafia is like our nature. Like that's just what it is. It's part of our life. Yeah. You know, especially Ozone Park, Howard Beach. You know. Well, you know, it's funny too. You go to, like I didn't really like, you know, growing up. Like I grew up upper middle class. Right. So it's always like, oh, well, they could do better, or they could do this, they could do that. But then you go to prison and you start hearing these guys' stories, and you realize like. You were a black guy born in the projects. Your mother's, you know, a prostitute, or you were raised by your grandmother. Your father's, you don't even know him. He's been in jail for 20 years. Right. Everybody you know that's making money is selling drugs. It's like, what else are you going to do? Right. Like you didn't have, you know, that's it. So, I mean, it's the same thing. If everybody you know that's making money and doing well is robbing people, then you think, well, that's how I have to survive. It's not even that. I don't want to say like the Italian mafia is better, but we're like high class criminals, as we say, because like we live in $1 million homes. You know, it's like we could fit in with anybody. You know what I mean? Like in Howard Beach is beautiful. The houses start at 600, end at 4 million. You know what I'm saying? That it's a $1 million neighborhood. It's all rich people, but it's a corrupt suburb. Yeah. You know what I mean? You had 4 bosses living there at once. Right. Vic Amuso, Joey Scopo, Joe Messino, John Gotti. That's all in one neighborhood in a 10-block radius. Okay, so think about all the people that are in there. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, it's just all around you. At what point did you cross that line? Right. Okay. Or were you always like stealing? No, I was bad since I was a kid. I got kicked out of every school. I mean, it was just, you know, a nightmare. Yeah, I was a fucking walking nightmare. That's what I was. Putting crazy glue in people's locks, you know, just from young, just terrorizer. Yeah.
So okay, so well, I mean, is there one specific event where you realize like, hey, this is bigger than cutting somebody's tires, or this is bigger than just me fucking around? We're actually going to go rob somebody to get money, or we're going to, is there one event where?
No, so I started off with I started getting locked up for assaults. That's what ended up happening when I was like 15, 16. Me and my friends were getting into fights a lot, but then we started doing like fucked up shit, beating people up, hitting people with tools, all kinds of shit. I ended up getting a case at like 16, assault with a weapon, but my group of friends, we all wanted to be criminals. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like, I guess as we got older, like they went into like city jobs or things like that, and I ended up going to jail.
Right.
At 18 years old, I got caught with a kilo of cocaine with my grandfather. So I was in the drug game. I was done.
With your grandfather?
With my grandfather, yeah. My grandfather was, a criminal as well. He ended up dying in prison. He was in my Uncle Andy's crew. He was, affiliated with all of that. And he used to teach me how to clean guns, take them apart, But, like he knew I was in the street. This is just how it was, you know what I mean? That's our culture almost, what you could say,
What is your mom saying, bro?
No, so I was at her house, out of her house at 17 years old, pretty much. But we were like, that's like the closest person to me.
You're still getting in trouble while you were there. Is she like,
I
what
put
are
her
you
through hell.
doing?
I put her through hell. I'm talking about, I used to steal the car. I'd jump out the window. I did a hit and run with the car at 15. I flipped the guy over, almost killed him. I took off. They had to crush the car. It was a whole fucking nightmare.
What's funny is like you say it, you talk about it basically because I've watched a bunch of movies. Like I understand you used the car, someone saw the car, so you guys had to dispose of the car because you didn't want to link back. Yeah. But you say it like it's nothing, like the average everyday, like how it is. No, I don't. Most people are going to school, getting a high school diploma, going to prom.
That's not, like I said,
prom?
No, I didn't go to. I dropped out of 9th grade. You know what I mean? So I started selling drugs for Hootie. He was a guy in the neighborhood. He does shows as well, Anthony Russo. And I started like 16 years old, just this petty stuff. You know what I mean? I started off. And then I started getting, worse and worse. And by the time I was 18, I ended up getting locked up for a brick of coke.
Oh, okay.
With my grandfather. And I went to adolescent Rikers Island, no bail. And that's when it just, that's it.
How's Rikers Island as an adolescent?
I mean, I was doing a story on TikTok the other day about it. It's the worst place you can go to in the country. Right. That's just what it is. It's just nonstop chaos. It's violence 24/7,
Yeah, I would think that adolescent prison would be adolescent prisons are worse than regular prisons.
I mean, literally, it's C-74. It's called Adolescents at War. That's what they call it. C-74 Adolescents at War. So I remember walking in there for like 10 minutes and I watched like 3 people get their heads split open. I was just walked in. It's just like nonstop like violence, you know what I mean? So that's what I was stuck in, no bail, A1 felony. Can't bail out. And if you got $1 trillion, no bail. They remanded me.
So how long was that?
I did 18 months. My grandfather actually took the weight and says, wrote to the judge, says he wasn't supposed to be there. Please, he's my grandson, and took more time, a lot more time.
Okay.
We got set up by a guy named Danny Marcha, my grandfather's friend from Jersey. And my grandfather's friend, he wanted a brick of coke. And my grandfather said, I says, Grandpa, I says, I'll get it for you. I get a better price. He's like, what do you mean? I says, yeah, I'll get it for you for cheaper. And I got it for a good price. And it was a fucking sting operation.
So you did 18 months. Your grandfather, what did he get?
He got 3 to life. Oh. Yeah, but it ended up becoming a 3 to 9 because they changed the Rockefeller law. So under the old Rockefeller law, A1 felonies was 3 to life.
Right.
They changed it. So everybody was coming back down with life sentences at the end, and it became a 3 to 9. Mm. And he ended up getting out like only in 2-3 years, but then he went back in. And he ended up dying in prison. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So, all right. So you get out. You got out. You went in. You saw how detrimental the trajectory of your life was detrimental. You changed your ways. Right. You got out. You ended up opening a company. Now you're a CEO, and everything went. You changed. No,
yeah, no, that's not what happened.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up getting out, and I was worse. And then I got out. I was like 20 years old, and I teamed up with my partner Bobby Gialonzo, who was the nephew of Vinny Asaro and Ronnie Gialonzo. For those who don't know, most do know. Vinny Asaro is a legendary captain in the Banana Crime family. He was part of the Lufthansa heist. He his best friend partner was Jimmy Burke, as Robert De Niro played as. That's his partner in crime. I ended up working for them. Okay. Him and his nephew Ronnie Gialonzo, who became like my mentor, basically.
What are you doing when you say you work for? Are they giving you like little jobs and they're giving you 500 here?
It's not like it's not like the movies. You don't get paid to do anything really,
right?
Because you're working your way in to be a part of them,
right?
So for most people when they see the movies, oh, here, kid, that's not how it works.
Right.
You do things for them. Like they have a loan shark business, a sports betting business. So they'll put you on. Okay, Gene, bring me sports bettors. I'll give you a half sheet. Whatever they lose, you get half. So you start getting a sports book now. Gene, you got customers for Shylocking. Okay, Ronnie, a guy needs 10,000, 12,000. I get it at 1 point. I put it out for 2 or 3 points. So I make money on his money.
Right. What if they don't pay?
That's on me. I'm responsible. That's why you can't. Not anybody could do this business in my era because you got to be able to collect your money.
Right.
So I was good at collecting money. I was extremely violent, and my partner Bobby G was probably worse. So we were 2 brutal guys running around doing fucked up shit, armed robberies, shooting, stabbings, made a reputation for ourselves, and we fit perfect in with that crew.
But if somebody pays, then it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, most of the time people do pay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so, I mean, like, how does this progress? Are you doing well? Are there close calls? At what point are you being investigated?
I mean, I think I was always being investigated. I mean, I don't think there's a time where I wasn't.
How do you know that, though?
I mean,
how do you even know?
I mean, your name's just out there. You know what I mean? It's just Do
you see them? Like, do you see the?
You never see the FBI. The only time you see them is when they lock you up.
Okay.
Oh, they'll leave you a card, which means you're getting locked up. So they'll leave the card. When they leave the card or they ever present themselves to you,
right,
you're getting locked up.
Yeah,
that means you're indicted.
It's too late.
Everybody, all right. So everyone hears this. If you're listening to this, if the FBI presents themselves to you and hands you a card, that means you're indicted. You're getting locked up. They're asking you basically, you want to work with us? And if not, they'll see you within 6 months. You're on indictment.
Right.
We all know that. That's like the neighborhood thing. You know what I mean?
It's even worse when they walk away and you don't hear from them for 6 months. For 6 months, you're in agony, waiting for when
they're coming.
Happen.
Yeah.
Maybe they forgot. They didn't forget.
No, they're coming. Yeah.
So you're working for
the Banana Crime Family,
right?
Queens Fraction,
and. Like, what happens? What's the next, like?
Well, it's just all about money.
Right.
It's all about making money. The mafia is based off money. We're not like street thugs that just cut you because you have a red shirt on or you have different colors. That's not our thing. Our thing is money. We want to get into everything. We just want to make money. We want all the money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was with a guy that made a lot of money, and all it was about protecting his money.
Okay.
At any costs.
Well, so what is the benefit to doing that? Like if you watch,
money, power, respect.
Okay. Well, because I was gonna say, if you watch The Godfather,
right?
Obviously this is from. I'm a novice.
I understand. Yeah,
I'm not Wade and Jeff and all these other guys who they have studied it and read books and I don't know. I know what I know comes from watching The Godfather, watching Goodfellas, watching Casino.
Right.
But what I'm thinking is in The Godfather, like when I watch The Godfather, I realized watching that I was like, I can see the benefit. Like if you get in trouble, they've got judges on the payroll. They've got, and maybe
this is
back
60s shit. Yeah, I'm not honestly. See, my era that was all gone. I mean, you might have we had dirty cops. Obviously, that happens. But I mean, for you to have a judge on the payroll, that's over with. Like shit like that. That's like 70s, 60s shit. The Godfather, exactly that era. That's no more. You know what I mean? So, in my era, it was more of loan sharking, sports betting, extortion, drug dealing, which you're not supposed to be stealing, and robbing drug dealers. That was my thing. Me and my guys love robbing drug dealers. Right,
but what's the benefit for you being a part of an organization?
Making $40,000 a month.
No, I'm saying as opposed to just doing it yourself.
Oh, so, well, it's organized crime. You're with the mob and, you want to become a member and, it's this entitlement. You're a guy now, you run the area. You're with guys that run the neighborhood, run these areas, and you're the guy.
Is it also something where you've got people to back you up? Like if I need 2 guys to come with me.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Or if I need to go, if I need $100,000, you can go to Jimmy.
Yeah.
He'll give it to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And plus everybody came to me for everything because I was involved in everything. So like I was the gun guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you needed a gun, you came to me. I just had guns everywhere. That was my thing. I love guns. So, like I said, we were running around. We were a bad group of kids.
Right. How? And then what time period is this?
This is from like 2003 to like 2015.
No, what I'm saying, how old were you? Sorry, how old were you?
I started. I started with the mob at 20 years old.
Okay.
Like really with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what happened? So you're doing arsons, things like that. In that?
Well, I did a list of arsons. I mean, I probably blew up 20 cars. I'm just saying, but I mean, in the time frame, I mean, you know, if a guy, I'll give you an instance, like Mike Padavona, he was a maid guy in my circle, and his daughter got into an argument with another kid in school. I guess the kid was picking on his daughter. Okay. So Padavona knew the guy was I think a fireman or something, or a cop in that nature, and everyone called me Genie Boy. This motherfucker's kid won't stop. Let's send him a message. Go set his car on fire. I went and set basically a DT car on fire.
Right.
That we didn't care. Like, we thought we were just above everybody. We didn't give a fuck who you are or what you are. That's just how we operated. We believed that we ran this shit. You just live here. Right. You know what I'm saying?
When does it come back on you, though? How long? At what point do you end up going back to jail or going to jail again? Or?
Oh, I went to jail at 22, came out at 26, then went back in at 30, came out at 35. Yeah, it was just
what were those for?
So, well, at 22 years old, I went away because my dad got jumped at a bar. They split his head open, and I went there and shot the place up. And I got caught with the gun and did 3 to 6 years for that. Okay. Came home, and then in 2010, Ronnie Gialonzo was serving 7.5 years for extorting a stockbroker firm. He was taking $100,000 a month from them.
Who is this?
Ronnie, my
okay. Sorry.
So he got 7.5 years for extortion. So he went away in 2006. I went away in 2006. I came home before him in 2010, and he was still serving time. So I had to control everything for him now while he was gone. Okay. So that's when everything started getting even more pressure on me, you know, and I had to take care of everything from while he was gone, you know.
So what happened? What's the I know this is. I mean, listen. I know these are like novice, like ridiculous. Yeah. But let's face it. If you were interviewing me, I'd have to explain about
of course
about what
it'd be like talking Chinese to me. I have no clue. You know what I'm saying? So
so I was gonna say, like, what about the kicking up money?
Right.
That's
true. But I was in a crew. He was a multimillionaire. But I mean, you still have to give a taste. You know what I mean? But he really wasn't on that with me. Okay. Other guys were kicking up to him. I was more like his favorite, and I did a lot of his dirty work. Right. So I wasn't the biggest earner in his crew, which I still made money. But I brought a lot of sports betting customers, a lot of loan shark customers, so he was happy with that. But we had to kick up to Jerry, his cousin. Okay. He was the crew captain, and we would give money. All of us, each Ronnie's guys would give money, and we would give Jerry an envelope.
And that's.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. What's up?
I was gonna say extortion on a stockbroker. Like, how does that?
No, firm. The whole firm. So it was a boiler room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were extorting a boiler room.
Okay.
So the guy.
So it was illegal to begin with.
Yeah, they all went to jail too.
Right. Like, you guys are running. Right. You're running a boiler room in my area. You have to pay me, or I'll burn your whole place.
They actually went to him because other people were trying to get them. So he's like, all right, well, you give me this much, and I'll take care of it.
So he's a good guy. I'm helping you out. You came to me.
And then things started getting violent where, they send Mike Palmacio and the crack guy in there with a phone. They wanted his customers. It started getting,
I wrote a story called Pain, where it's about the pain epidemic, right? The oxycodone epidemic. Right. And, these guys just opened a pain clinic down the street. And they're all like licensed, seemingly legitimate clinics. Right. And then this guy opened up a clinic 2 miles down the road from my clinic, and he's passing out flyers to my people. And so we're going to go and we're going to smash the windows out. And they try and run them out of business. They're driving across the state to burn places down. Like, yeah. So I get it. Like, these guys are pulling guns on each other. And it's like, it's a doctor's office.
And when this starts getting involved, people get crazy, Yeah. I mean, Ronnie literally would have you killed over his money. Like, I mean, we beat a guy till he shit himself over his money. And that was his friend for 20 years. I tell that story. Simone, we beat him. He shit his pants. Little shit was in his pants. Right. He thought we were going to kill him. Over $250,000, we're talking.
It's a lot of money.
We beat him with brass knuckles. We beat him. I had to drag him in his house, put a knife to his neck in front of his family. Give me the fucking loan shark list. Right. Ronnie says, you do not leave without that fucking list. That's how his money was before everything. Right. Ronnie had a 7th grade education. Couldn't read or write, but he could make $1. Right. He was a wise guy. He knew how to use it. You know what I mean? He knew how to use his power.
Well, it's funny because when you could be friends, and you could be friends with someone for 10 years. Right. And then suddenly you go into business with them. Or suddenly they lend you 10 grand. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the first time you really know who that person is. Right. because when money's involved, you really, really get to know what someone's like.
Right.
Like, are they concerned about paying me? About, you know what? I don't have it. You'll be fine. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. We've been friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then I know other people who you're not even like cool with, and you lend them $1,000 and they're like, listen, man, I know it's supposed to pay you today, but here's what's happening. Boom, I'll give it to you tomorrow. And they're calling you.
Right.
So,
right, you know, it's like I said, some people are just scumbags. Yeah. You know, I dealt with a lot of them. You know what I mean? But you know, for the most part, we always got our money. He made people sell their homes to pay him.
Yeah,
remortgage their homes. I've seen it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never understood that, where even people borrow from the bank. Right. Oh, well, I didn't realize the interest rate's too high, that you agreed to make these payments. Right. Like, and now you're doing everything to justify not paying. And then when they foreclose on you, you're pissed at the bank. Like,
right.
You said you'd make $1,300 a month.
That's
what are
right.
you doing?
Exactly.
But the bank doesn't send anybody to your house. But still.
Right. Well, no, they do.
They do eventually to take their house back.
Yeah, they do. They're no different. Just
they send the cops. It's nicer. It's
Ronnie.
polite.
You know, Ronnie taught me something, and it stuck with me my whole life. And it justified when we would hurt somebody that it's not a civilian, but so for instance, if you want to borrow money, you go to where? A bank.
A bank.
If you want to bet, you go to the casino.
Right.
When you come to us, you're betting and borrowing money off. So whose world are you in?
Right.
You're in our world now. You're going to pay our consequences. Ronnie goes, they're no longer a civilian, because why? They came to us for the money. They want to bet sports with us. So our consequence, you don't pay, is we're going to hurt you.
Right.
Go to the fucking bank.
Right, because you can't
go
sue.
Gamble. Right. You jumped into our world. No one told you to come into our world and borrow money off us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how we look. That's how he taught me to look at it. And it was like, even though it's not the right way, but in my brain, it was. So I felt like if you didn't pay, you got to get hurt.
Right. Well, the banking system is set. The system is set up for you to repay the bank, and for the bank to have a device to recapture their collateral. But for when someone goes, you don't have that. It's like in prison. If prison and I have a dispute, you take money from me, like, I can't sue you.
No, I'm gonna stab you.
Right. There's no recourse. I either have to just suck it up, and now everybody thinks, oh, you can do whatever you want to that motherfucker.
Right.
Or you've got to physically do something.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no lawsuits. Yeah. So okay. So when you get out, now you're running you're running the crew for.
I'm not running the crew. What I'm doing is making sure his money is being collected and taken care of. So he had a lot of deadbeat lists because he was gone. I was gone. He's fighting with other guys in the crew, so he had nobody out there. As soon as I got out, he was so happy. I remember him calling me from his cell phone. He's like, "Thank God you're out." He goes, "I need you out here right now so bad." And I got right to work, you know?
Okay.
And that was it. I got right to collecting his money and, you know, making sure money was coming in again. All his money was coming in. And this guy was making, while he was in prison, he was making $30,000 a week in loan money. That's just loans. Right. He's making $120,000 a month just off loan sharking. Okay, that's just his weekly money. You know, this is the kind of operation he has. You know what I mean? He's one of the biggest Shylocks. So, and then when the sports business starts running, he's making. It's unpredictable. It could be anywhere from $50,000 to $300,000 in 1 month.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this guy is making millions of dollars. So what we're going to do at any cost, we're going to do anything to protect his money.
Right.
And the guys that are bringing him money, he had a main earner named Nicholas Festa, Pudgy, who, you know, I was good friends with. You know, he wasn't a tough guy, but he was a big earner, but he was getting abused a lot. And Ronnie was having a fucking heart attack over it, that he kept getting robbed. The guys kept not paying him.
Right.
So I had to take care of, like, his stuff, too, because, you know, Ronnie's, you know, he's giving Ronnie $40,000 a month.
Right.
So he's, like, protect him like my son. I was like, all right, you know, and so I had a lot of work to do, you know what I mean? So I was off up and running.
How long until things go?
50 months later.
50 months?
Yeah, I had a 50-month run to the day. Yeah.
And what happens?
Lights out. Over.
Well,
do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
Well, how does that operation start to grab you? Or was it ongoing?
It was always ongoing.
Okay.
They locked up Vinny for the Lufthansa heist they locked him up January of 2014. They locked him up with him, the boss of the family, Tommy DeFiore. They locked him up with his son Jerry for moving a body. From Vin killed a guy, buried him under a house, and his son moved him to another location. He got charged with that, and then they locked up Jackie, a captain in our crew. They locked up John Rangano, another wise guy in the crew, for an indictment. And the feds were, I guess,
Just it sounds like they're gutting the
Well,
whole...
we had a guy named Gasper who was Vin's cousin wearing a wire for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So he got him on murders and the Latanza and, you know, all this stuff. They found the body under a house and, you know, we thought he had no chance of winning.
Right.
He gets found not guilty on all charges. It was the biggest upset in the courtroom history of all time. It was the more media attention than the commission case, the Gotti cases. It beat out everything. This guy was in the newspaper every day for like 2 months straight. He beats the case, not guilty on all charges. Nobody knows how he won. His son gets 7 years, 8 years. Jackie gets 7 years. John gets 5 years. And Tommy the Fury gets like 2.5 years. But now they're working on the younger guys. So they got them,
right?
But they're investigating us at the same time. So they just going from, okay, we got the older guys. Ronnie, now it's our turn. Mike, blah, blah, blah. Now they're coming to get the younger guys.
All right.
So it's just when I got locked up, this is funny. I got locked up in the state. They got me on a state organized crime task force. Got me, and I remember my lawyer's name was David Guy, and I sat down with him. They gave me a $500,000 bail, and then Florida came and put a fugitive warrant on me. They had me in Florida for something as well. So they locked me in. I couldn't go nowhere. So I remember sitting down with David Guy, and I go, well, how bad is it? He goes, oh, yeah, you fucked. Just like that. Oh, thanks. Okay. He goes, oh, you're fucked. He goes, this is horrible. Yeah. I just what? He goes, I seen the indictment. It's a 15,000-page wiretap indictment. It's all blacked out. You're 2,200 of the pages. He goes, this is federal, bro. He goes, you're just holding here. You're sitting here. You're going over there. He goes, they've been investigating you for years. He goes, you are fucking screwed. He goes, the best thing you could do is talk. I wouldn't do it at first.
Right.
No. He goes, that's your best bet. He goes, you're going. He goes, they have you on conspiracies in Florida, the state, federal. He goes, you're looking at a fucking 1,000 years. He's like,
I mean, are these conspiracies, are these all like racketeering?
Yes, it's going to be. So what they're doing is they're holding me in the state because they're not ready for me in the feds yet. They're still investigating because they had another guy in our crew named Ricky Kessler, real tough guy, but he was wearing a wire.
Okay.
So now they're still working.
You're so done. Like you've got on multiple fronts.
And I got all, you know, the federal. I got all violence. I got racketeering, shootings, violence. Like I didn't even know what they had me on. I just know the state had me on. They were just going to give me like 7, 8 years in the state.
Right.
Florida was going to hang me. They were going to give me like 10, 15 years. Consecutive. I had an armed robbery in a jewelry store. They were gonna hang me out there. That's consecutive. Wait, then you go federal. I have like a 17-count indictment. More. It was like 55 counts. But I mean, out of my charges, I had conspiracy to murder, attempted murder, shooting assault, arsons, loan sharking, gambling. It's like something where if I got 30 years, I'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? So I was looking at an asshole full time, and then I never forget it. I sat up for like, I think it was like 15 months. And I never forget this day till I'm dead. A white shirt came to see me, a captain.
Right.
It's a Tuesday. There's no visits on Tuesday. And she comes up to my cell and he goes, Borrello. I said, what's up? You got a visit. First of all, why are you coming here to tell me you got a visit?
Yeah, this already.
Regular COs only come to tell you got a visit. There's no visit on Tuesday.
Right. It looks bad all the way. Anybody looking out their window right now.
And I'm in maximum security. I'm in the worst building in Rikers Island, C95. There's more violence in there than Iraq. Okay? I mean, like, that's how bad it is. So I go, what are you talking about visit? I look at her and I go, feds. She goes, I says, fuck it. I says, you know what? I'm going to fucking go down there because Ronnie wouldn't. I asked him to pay my lawyer. He's jerking me around with the lawyer money. He's already mad at me for something that we already had problems with. We were actually not friends really anymore. They got my little brother. He's looking at 7, 8 years because of me, because I sent him somewhere. And I had a cousin wearing a wire as well on us.
Did your cousin got?
Frank Nunziata.
Did that already happen?
Yeah, he already got me jammed up. He wore a wire and he got me jammed up. That's how I had the state case from this kid, Frank Nunziata. He jammed me up and got my little brother jammed up as well.
Okay.
So now I got all this against me. You know, I got federal, Florida, everything. I go and sit with the feds, and they just said it like this to me, Rob and Adam. They're like, you could look them up. They actually like have this famous news article because they walk Vin out on the Latanza, and you just see them next to him. It was like on the front page. Right. So like they're like known FBI Bonanno agents, and I knew right away who they were. And he sat me down. He said, "Listen, we're letting you know you are indicted. Basically, we're not going to come again. Like, this is it. You're like, basically, you're never going to see the street.
Right.
You want this? The paper?" I looked. I said, "Fucking give it to me." And I did. I signed. And that was it. And you could just see, like, they were, like, in shock that it went like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, all right. And then that was it. The next time I met them was January of 2016, and I sat with Nicole Argentieri, Lindsay Gertis, Allison Cooley, the 2 agents, my lawyer, and a state organized crime guy. he was only there for that one time for cold case murders. And I sat with them, and I forget it, Nicole, who's now like the attorney general. She's like huge now, from what I'm hearing. I got along with them very well, the prosecutors. And she goes, you know how this works? I says, no, I don't. She goes, you're going to tell me every single thing you ever did in your life. I don't care if you stole a piece of candy.
Yeah.
We have to know everything you ever done in your life. You have to tell us. We're going to make sure they're real crimes. We're going to look into them. They already know everything. Yeah. I'm just checking the boxes off for them. You know what I mean? But they needed me so much because I was so close to Ronnie.
Right. Well, also, by the way, just for clarification, it's better for you, because a lot of people would think, oh, well, you shouldn't tell them everything. No, wait a minute.
You have to.
Not just that. One, if they find out later you lied, they won't give you anything. And secondly, you want to tell them everything, especially things they don't know, because now they won't get charged for it.
Absolutely.
Like coverage. Right. I don't want to give them any reason to come back on.
Like I know. Like there's a guy out there, and I'm not trying to knock anybody. Like the guy Ramondi. I don't know if you ever seen him. He went on Vlad TV. He talks about killing the Pope. He talks about these murders.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. I hate to say he's like a clown. When you know and how I know how we work, right? When you proffer, you get coverage on things. So you could talk about this stuff. If you do not sit with a prosecutor and sign a contract, you cannot go on TV and go, oh, I killed this guy, I shot this guy. The feds are going to go, okay, go lock him up, please.
Yeah.
I try to explain to people, like people try to be all they could be on these shows and these things. I'm telling, when you sit down, you proffer with these people, you have to tell them everything you ever did in your life.
Right.
So if you don't have a proffer agreement, you cannot come on YouTube or TV and talk about murders and all this stuff. You have to have coverage, because if they're real crimes, you're going to get a knock at your door. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially if there's no statute of limitations.
No, yeah. So I sat with Nicole Agitieri. I got along with her very well. Lindsay Gertis, I dealt with her for like 7 years. I got along with her very well. Allison Cooley got switched out for a guy named Keith Edelman, who he was a total dick. Ended up putting me back in jail. He was just a dick. Like, not cool.
I had one of those.
He was just like not cool, you know what I mean? But all the rest of them were. Nicole Agitieri now is like a real big shot, and she was like a known lady to slay the banana crime family. That was like her thing. Like she just prosecuted so many banana guys. Everyone knew who she was, you know what I mean? Right. And I sat with her. I did everything I had to do. And she goes, I can't promise you nothing. You know how it goes. You're going to cop out to your top charges. I had to go in front of a judge. I had to like explain everything. I maliciously did this and maliciously did that, and all these $100 words, and cop out. And I copped out to these ridiculous guidelines. And then I waited for everyone to be done. And then it came out later on that my friend Ricky was cooperating. Then there was multiple other cooperators. I was actually the last guy to cooperate. There was actually like 17 total guys cooperating on the case. And then finding out another guy named Ralph had a wire on. He had me on wiretaps, but we're all cool now. It's the past, is what it is. But it turned out that there was like 5 wires. Right. My mom goes, you just didn't know how screwed you are. You know what I mean? It was like so bad. So my best thing was I would have died in prison, basically.
Yeah.
Or came home at 70-something years old.
So without the reduction, right? What would you have gotten?
So I'll break it down. They were going to hit me with a thing called Career Arms Act. Career Arms Act means guns. Yeah. I already was convicted of 2 guns, because I would have a state gun. I had 2 state guns.
Right.
The feds were locking me up for multiple shootings and guns.
Right.
They were going to Career Arms Act me. Anyone knows what that means? That's a 22-year minimum mandatory right there. Mandatory of 22 years just for the Career Arms Act.
Right.
I have home invasions. I have armed robberies. I have attempted murders, conspiracy to murder. I'm looking at an asshole full of time in the federal system. I'll probably cop out to a guideline of 15 to life, and with a recommendation of like 25 years. You know how it goes. With a consecutive Florida.
Right.
With consecutive of state. Remember, this is all separated.
So the feds don't get the state to drop the charges?
Only because I cooperated.
Oh, okay.
If I wasn't I'm just telling you what I would have got without cooperation. Right, I would have got ping pong. The state would have look. The state probably says, "All right, take this 5 years." Then as I'm doing the 5 years, they're going to come get me, the feds. Now they're going to give me an asshole full time, but I still got Florida.
Yeah.
So
you're just never getting out.
Just never getting out. And
you're really just going from one shithole to another.
People don't understand the federal guidelines, how bad they are, especially when you start getting into RICO racketeering charges. I remember Lindsay, she goes, Gene, I could give you 22 years just for the Career Arms Act.
Right.
Just for the Career Arms Act, I could start you off with 22 years just because of my record. That's how screwed I was. And, I ended up getting along with them very well. The agents actually were really cool. I'm going to be honest with you, like, They were like some of the nicest people I've met. Rob and Adam, they were awesome people, man. I got along with them very well. They know the mafia better than me. They know the mafia better than me. The college theory knows the mafia better than me. Okay, that's all I can tell you. That's their job. That's their life. They really know this shit. And I ended up paying off. I did 63 months time served on that. I was supposed to do, you know, forever and a day. And
where'd you do that time?
So I got bounced around. At first, I was in Rikers. I told them, listen, you got to get me out of here. Yeah. If I'm doing this, you got to get me the fuck out of here. So they put me in New Jersey under a fake name, under Joey Russo. Okay. Which I fucked up in there twice.
Well, someone...
No, I knocked the guy's teeth out. Oh. I knocked his teeth out. I have the scar on my hand still. Knocked his tooth out. The whole tooth came out. But I split my hand. I caught fucking staph infection. My knuckles broke. Nicole's flipping out. They're flipping out. Then I get into an altercation with a guy in a jail.
How's that conversation go? When the FBI goes, what are you doing?
No, it wasn't even the FBI. They're more understanding. The prosecutors are not. You know what I'm saying? They're not. The FBI agent's like, all right, listen, we know it's jail. It's going to be... Nicole and them were not happy about it because they were trying to lock me up for it. The kid was trying to press charges. I'm under a fake fucking name. I'm supposed to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now the warden, the only person, only two people in the whole place know who I really am.
Right.
The warden of the fucking place and like a high-ranking lieutenant. And now they're trying to negotiate with the police. Like, listen, the kid, and I also hit him with a chair. So they're saying that's assault with a weapon now. So now
these bastards.
Yeah. So now, and I'm like, this kid's a gang member. He's trying to press charges, you know. But I knocked his tooth clean out. You know, his teeth is out, and they're bugging out, and they have to. They're trying to say, no, we're locking him up and fingerprinting him. Right. Long story short, the warden goes, we don't feel in his thing where they watched the video that it should not be a charge because he came at me as well. Okay. So they kind of took my back. But then it gets worse because then I end up, me and my bunkie, we end up getting into altercation with a guy and he drops dead.
Just
in the cell. He had a heart attack.
From yelling at each other?
No, he was on Suboxone. There was like a rumble. I was going to say. There was like a rumble in there.
I've had lots of altercations.
There was like a rumble in there, and I was in there, and my bunkie James was in there, and this kid was in there, and he died. I tried to save him. I know that happens all the time. Listen, I pumped his chest. I threw water on him. We tried to save him. He died. And they ruled it that he died from Suboxone. He had a heart attack. Luck. Yeah, you know, and the family was protesting around the jail. Hey, look,
you can't just
Joey Russo.
those fucking
so,
victims.
And then I'm trying to tell him, like, listen, I was trying to save the kid. I had nothing to do with killing him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't die from us, and the kid ended up dying of a heart attack. They ruled it of Suboxone. He was on Suboxone, and he dropped dead. Yeah, this is under my fake name in New Jersey. Okay, so
you're saying I think you should charge Russo, but I'm leaving.
Yeah, and then they put me in Farrington, New Jersey, Farrington in the Woodsack unit, and then I got to meet all the celebrities. You just say Flores twins. I'm like, this guy worked for El Chapo. He's my good friend. Margarito was my fucking boy, man. I loved him. I was with Frankie, the head of the Tijuana cartel. I was with Teddy DiBattoro. He was the one that killed the Chicken Man Philly Tester with the nail bomb. Anthony Arellano, who we're still friends to this day with. He was a mob guy at Boston, Mass. He was a captain. A whole bunch of guys were in there. Some fucking terrorists that I did not want. I was in there with Abdullah, this motherfucker.
He's the terrorist named Abdullah?
Wait, listen. He's the one that tried to shoot everybody coming off the subway in 2009. He actually tried to blow himself up and it wouldn't detonate. He didn't know how to detonate it.
He's just
and I had to, and then he tried saying he's from New York. I had a fucking issue with this. I'm like, because we had like tables even in there, you know. And he's like, oh, he says the New York table. I says, no, he don't. I said, what do you mean he's from New York? I says, no, he's not from fucking New York. I said, I don't care what I did in my life. I'm not sitting with no fucking Al Qaeda, bro. It's not happening. So I had a whole situation with him and.
It's like the sex offenders when they're trying to hide what they did. They're like, "What are you here for? Fraud. Why do you have to pick fraud? Can't you say drugs? Right. Can't you say something like?"
Right. But I got in this unit. I was in the unit for like 3 years, and then I got sentenced finally, and they gave me 63 months time served. I had the best federal judge in the business. His name is Judge Block. He wrote books. I mean,
I didn't have this experience.
Listen, I got lucky with this guy. I'm telling you, he did all my violations. When the government got mad at me when I got out and they were trying to put me back in jail, he refused. I mean, this guy was literally like, we had the same birthday, June 6th. We both wrote books. He was just a friendly guy.
Right.
He liked me. My lawyer goes, he just likes you. There's nothing else I could say. Like, he just thinks that you're not who you used to be. He's not going to fry you. And they wanted me fried, the government, after I got out on my parole violations. And he refused to. And they were furious. They wrote an article. Judge Block refuses to put him in. Like, they were just being like such assholes. But I went in front of him anyway, and he gave me time served. He let me out, gave me 3 years probation. But I violated so many times.
When was this?
This was December of 2019, December 6th.
Bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got out in December, in January 19.
Okay.
So yeah,
I got out months after.
Just like I still feel.
But
like
I went back 3 times. I did probably like.
Oh yeah.
I did 20 months in violations, house arrest, restarted probation. Forget it. I was getting tortured on that shit. I just couldn't do it.
Did you contribute to any of these violations, or they just have it out for it?
Because the Johnny and Gene show. When that Johnny and Gene show came out, they were fucking furious. The building. Because remember, when I first got out, Johnny A. It was only Mike Francis and Johnny A. in the genre. That's all it was. And Johnny A. had was really close to my Aunt Connie. They grew up together. So he's like, when your nephew gets out, tell him to call me. You know what I mean? So when I got out, I called him. He goes, yo, I'm going to put you on Vlad TV with me.
Right. My
first interview, I'm just out. Nice. I look like a ghost. I looked horrible. I go and sit on Vlad TV, and everyone's like, who's this kid? You know, and I got a unique story, modern day. I work for these, big guy and his name's.
Well, listen, the big thing, okay, all of that's true. But the big thing is that unlike most people, when we've had this conversation, which we'll have again in a minute, is that these are the things I did. I was caught. I cooperated. I mean, this is the way I always say it, is look, there are those people that are okay with the person I used to be and the things I've done to get here, to this place in my life, and they're 100% accepting of it, and there are those people that can go fuck themselves.
Right.
And I feel like that's the same thing. You're like, look, this is who I was. This is what I did. This is where I am now. And, did I cooperate? You know, did people go to jail? Did I do things? Yeah, I did. But you know what? I did, and fuck you. I didn't want to do fucking life sentence. Go fuck yourself.
It's not about life sentence. Everybody turned on me. I had so many people telling on me. I was the guy. Listen, and they say, without Ronnie and Vinny, I'm like the target. So people are mad that I got to go home because of Ronnie and Vinny. That's why they're mad, because I was the guy who was supposed to be doing life in prison.
Right. But everybody else is, they're all, they're like,
nobody expected that, because I was like this, like real bad guy, and everyone's like, oh, he's the only one I know I'll take 30 years, because jail didn't faze me. I cooperated for other reasons, and I saved my brother too. My brother was getting 7 years. I got his whole shit thrown away. He didn't do a day because of me. My brother didn't cooperate. I just got him out. I said, listen, if you don't drop that gun, that's because of me. I sent him somewhere to do something. And I got this kid jammed up. He's not doing time.
Right.
That's it. And I got him no jail time. So, and like I said, I didn't want to do life in prison. But at the end of the day, they fucked me over. They turned on me. I actually pay my federal, just pay the lawyer. Give me a fighting chance. You're telling me, oh, when it goes federal, I'll pay it. Yeah, okay. Come on, bro. I ain't stupid. I know the game. Yeah. You're not paying shit. So at the end of the day, I do miss, the people, sometimes. I think back and I'm like, a lot of my close friends, I do miss them, but now I have this whole new life with all great friends. So it's I don't even care no more,
Oh, bro, listen, I miss fraud. Everybody's like, you ever think about it? Every fucking day I think about it.
Right.
There's not a day I don't go, that something doesn't happen. I think, oh man, I did. And then I go, what are you doing? What are you doing? I think about it all the time.
Right.
And I've reached out to people. It's funny too, because the people that cooperated against me, I talk to all of them.
Right. Me too. Me and Ricky Kessler. Bro, me and Ricky bullshit all the time. Ricky's a legit tough guy. Kessler, you should have him on the show, actually. He's good. He was a fucking, he robbed the Brinks truck with his bare hands. Tell me how you do that. They took it out of my book. I was so mad. I go, Ricky, I'm sorry. I don't know why this fucking editor took it out of the book, but it's going to be in the show and what we're doing. And Ricky was a hands-on fucking dude, but Vinny hated him. Asaro hated him with a passion. I just couldn't tell you why. He just hated him. But Ricky cooperated because they all did him dirty. They all treated him like shit. And Ricky was their muscle before I was. You know what I mean? So me and him talk all the time. I talked to Ralph. He was wearing a wire on me as well. I talked to him. Frank Nunziata, he won't speak to me. He's terrified of me. And I'm going to tell you why. He's a scumbag. I'm going to tell you why he's a scumbag. Because he did the ultimate grimy shit. He didn't try to hurt me. He tried to bury me. And this is a guy that I put on, and he had nothing. He was like a bum. And I made this kid money, things. And he was blatantly lying and setting me up. He put me on, he put me on the gun sales. I took this personal. This is what didn't bother me. He put me on gun sales that I never sold a gun in my life. And still to this day, I never sold anybody a gun. You need a gun, I'll give it to you.
Right.
Gun sales he put me on.
Right.
that was fake. So I always had like you lied to get me in trouble.
Right.
Everything I gave was truthful. He was lying and putting me on things that just to save his ass because he was selling drugs with his fucking kid in his arm, pulling drugs out of a backpack to an undercover.
Yeah, I don't have a problem telling you every fucking thing I've ever done. But
me either.
But if people are like, oh, you stole money from this, you've done this, stole money from old people, and that. What are you talking like, bro? I stole money from the bank.
They make these things up in their head, bro. Look at the guy Sam. I was locked up with the guy Sam Bankman-Fried, right?
Right.
This guy's gonna get 100 years. He never heard a fly. All he did was steal money.
Right.
Well, I think that's ridiculous. I have friends of mine that have execution murders with 23 years in the feds. My friend Jerry shot a guy in the head and it was a hit. He got 23 years.
Yeah.
With a fucking 3 federal prior cases, with 3 federal bids prior. And he got 23 years. And they're going to give this guy 100 years for stealing money with never heard a fly.
Yeah, I wrote a book where the 2 guys that murdered 2 federal informants both got 25 years apiece.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they're out already.
The government is so weird the way they do things. Like they're more strict with like weird. It's like you kill somebody in the feds, you'll get less time than actually selling drugs or stealing money.
Right.
It's insane. It doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the other one that's weird is bank robbery. Like I have no
guys.
That's
10-year minimum mandatory though.
But the thing is, they usually get 10 or 12 or 15 years.
Well,
like
it's 10 years minimum.
You robbed 20 banks.
Right.
Like to me, you went into with a gun and you robbed 20
Unless
banks.
you blow trial, then they'll roof you.
Right.
You'll get a decent cop out. But if you blow trial with any of these charges, they'll give you 100 years.
But I'm saying that seems like 10 years is reasonable.
Right. I feel like Sam Bankman, like I said, should get 10 years.
Yeah,
20 years at worst.
I was gonna say, you know what? My prediction was 20 years.
No, it's 115 they're looking at right now. His recommendation's 115. And he has the worst judge in the Southern District, Kaplan. He's probably the most strictest guy in the business.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say
my lawyer's been a lawyer, Nancy Inez. She's been a lawyer 35 years. I says, how bad is she? She goes, he's all government. He's for the government. So that means like what they're saying, he's gonna go with. You know what I mean? When you have a judge that's for the government or used to be a prosecutor, you're fucked.
Right.
See, Judge Block was an attorney. Judge Block is a fair guy. He's for like the people as well. He'll do things that the government hates him. The government hates him. He's one of the most hated judges by the government because he goes against them all the time. He released a guy that it's just because he's not for them always.
Most of the federal judges is like they might as well. They're really just an arm of the prosecution. You know?
Yeah, they are.
In here? In South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia.
I would say the state, the prosecutors control the courtroom in the state. Yes, they control the judge is just there. In the feds, the judge kind of controls the courtroom. But like I said, they'll go with the recommendations.
They always go with, it doesn't even matter if they still go with what they say.
But remember, a federal judge is a very powerful person. He could go give you, if you have
you can't get rid of them.
No, you can't. They're there till they're dead. But I'm saying a federal judge is very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, they probably most powerful position in the country.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
like I knew guys that their judges were in their 80s and they were wheeling them in a wheelchair, putting them in, and the judge is sitting there going, "What's he here for?" And the clerk is going, "He's here for bank fraud." And what does it say? The PSI say, you know, and it's like.
They didn't even look into it. Yeah, not my judge. He was very sharp. He would know everything about you before he went in front of you. He actually used to make jokes that when on my violation, he goes, "Oh, Borrello." He goes, "My freaking flyer." He goes, "Nobody knows." He goes, "I don't think I know a case better than this one." He say, you know, because I was so much drama I had on violations going in front of him so many times, but he just wouldn't like really hurt me. You know what I mean? Like they wanted 60 months, 3. He would just give me like 5 months. He terminated me with like 7 months. They were furious. You know what I mean? Like he gave me house arrest. He just wasn't, you know, if I had my judge that was on my co-defendants, my lawyer says I was done. Irizarry, she gave all my co-defendants over the time they were supposed to get. So she was going over the guideline. So if they were saying 4 years, she's giving you 6. If you're saying 7, she's giving you 9. She gave Ronnie an extra like 4 or 5 years.
Is he's still staying within the range?
No. She wasn't staying. She wasn't staying in his range. No, they only recommended I think 9 years for him. She gave him like 14. Yeah, she's brutal. She came under Sterling Johnson. They investigated that big kingpin back in the day. Frank Lucas, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
They were that whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that one of them. Yeah.
So American Gangster.
Yeah. So these judges, if you get the wrong one, you know.
Yeah.
You're fucked. And he got the wrong one, Sam Bankman. He's got the wrong one.
That was it. Okay.
I was going to say, how long were you locked up with them and what was he like?
Oh, yeah, Bankman, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't with him long. I ended up going to the hole for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up punching the guy. I ended up fighting a guy over him. I was stupid shit, but, you know, I ended up getting into a fight over him. I was only with him for a short time. But
are people giving him a hard time?
No, not a hard time. They were just trying to, like, friendly extort him, I guess. But I was trying to just tell him. The kid didn't like that I was telling him that it wasn't safe in here, that it was safe in here. He was trying to tell him it's not safe in here. It's a fucking witness unit, but it's like a fucking... Right. It's like a dropout yard unit. Like, it's not dangerous.
So you understand the problem is that what he just said, you picked up that? Friendly extortion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a normal term, by the way. I know for you, you're thinking, like, I understand what you mean. You want to know what that means? Friendly extortion is where, like, the guy kind of buddies up to you and makes it, it's not like he's really saying, hey, pay me this, but he's asking you, hey, man, you think you could get me commissary? And you kind of know.
It's friendly extortion, and he knows that you're timid, you might be nervous, and then it's and
you need friends.
Yes.
So I'm buying some friendship from guys that will protect me.
He came up to me, this little crumb, and he kept saying, yo, don't tell him it's safe in here. Stop telling him that. I'm like, why would I not tell him that? I'm like, what do you think you're going to get out of him? Like, this guy's facing 1,000,000 years.
He's going to get some whams and a pack of
the kid was chasing K2, and then I was talking to Sam Bigby, and he called me over. He's like, yo, don't talk to him no more. I was like, who the fuck you talking to, bro? And he swung at me. And that was it. I got him. And I went to the hole. I hit him with hot coffee as well. And I had a 224 assault. They were trying to give me, that's a federal referral. So I sat in the hole 3 weeks with a federal referral. I'm going home September 20th. I'm like, can you imagine I don't go home right now? I was on a max out day for day. I'm like, can you imagine I got a fucking assault for this little jerk off? And they kicked it back. They never gave it to me, you know?
Do you feel like maybe you've contributed to some of these assaults?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I'm the problem. I'm like this. I'm cool until I'm not. It's like, that's how I am. I'm friendly. I'll smile with you. We'll joke around all day. I smile all day. But once you try to embarrass me or cross me, you're gonna see another person.
Okay.
You know, that's just how I am. I'm night and day. Just, we can hang out all day. You would never even know I'm a bad guy until you cross that line or bother my friends or something. Then you're gonna meet, you know,
it's
the other person.
Because, like, you know, obviously, listen, like, I'm not 6 foot fucking tall. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
6'2", yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad. You know, I'm not knocking people out in prison, you know, or outside.
Right.
But it's because that's funny. I hear the way you're reacting to these guys because I've had those conversations.
Oh, I fought gang members my whole life in jail. See, they're strong. Listen, a lot of these guys I fought, I say I lost a lot of fights. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I go. And then at one point I was just pulling weapons out, and I was like, fuck this. I'm not rolling on the floor.
But like, to me, like, nobody would bother you. But I think what happens is when someone approaches me, like, to me, that whole conversation right there where you're like, fuck you, where I'd be like, wait, I don't understand what's going on.
I stick up for everybody. That's my problem.
But I'm saying immediately that guy would be like, well, here's what's going on. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, I wouldn't have fucking reacted at all in a negative. I would have tried to turn the situation, and most likely would, because, like, I didn't have any problems.
Right.
And I'm walking around as a snitch.
Right.
Where snitches are getting beat up. Nobody's bothering me.
Right.
You know? So, but I could see how there were guys that, you know, listen, there are sex offenders. There were, you know, most of them.
We were destroying them.
95%.
Oh, we were torturing them.
Right. But 95% of them are so meek. You know, but every once in a while, there was this one dude who came in who was like an ex-Marine. Yeah. And I mean, so there are guys going, fuck you, you this, you that, bam, knocking them out. And you're like, Jesus.
I was with a lot of guys like that, you know, and also UFC fighters. You have some guys that are pro fighters, not pro fighters, but they fight and they know how to fight. And these gang members think like, oh, fuck, and they destroy them. Yeah. Because fighting a pro fighter in a brawl,
you don't have a chance.
You don't have a chance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was with when I was in the state, I landed in a sex offender jail. It's just because in the state you get shuffled. I landed in a place called Groveland, and 75% of the population was sex offenders. I'm 23 years old. I'm wild as could be. I'm not.
It's a bad situation.
I got kicked. You in there. I didn't make it in that jail. I'm saying we terrorized them, but it was such horrific charges. I mean, I couldn't even sleep at night. Some of the charges were so bad. So I mean, child mutilation. I mean, just crazy shit. Where I'm like, I'm gonna kill this guy. We were throwing hot water on them while they were sleeping. We were torturing them. You know what I mean? So
what you end up going to prison for that in the state is that the state charges are horrific. Like these guys grabbed somebody. They grabbed a kid.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
In the feds, like they looked at pictures. Not that it's okay, but this is a meek guy that couldn't even do what his fantasies are asking him to do. Right. He just looked at some pictures and got 5 years, you know? So that's the Fed. So it's like they're not going to be a problem, but the guys in the state that go to the state are horrific crimes.
I ended up with so when I got in my last violation, I did my 8 months. I was in a unit now. They making it's called 4 North. You're with a whole bunch of high profile people. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up with this cop, and he was NYPD, nice kid, but he ended up having that. He actually was in population hiding the whole time, but his case was about to go on the news. and he was
a cop, and he's
a pedophile, but he wasn't even a pedophile. He had pictures, but he was cross state lines talking to girls underage. They're giving this kid 30 years.
Yeah.
Wait, he had like 100 counts, and I ended up with him, and I had no idea he was that until like it came out. I was like, wow. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this guy's an NYPD cop. Because he was a cop doing that, his guideline was 15 to 30 years. I think they recommended the high end at that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, position of trust.
Yeah, but he didn't touch any of them. I mean, he was only 20 years old at the time. The kids were like, the girls were like 15. He didn't touch them, but he's getting like 30 years. They're very, which I don't mind. You know, listen, you're a sex offender. I want them to be killed. You know what I'm saying? I want them to die. But I'm saying I think that was a little ridiculous because he was 20. They were like 15, 16. But I think they were exchanging pictures or something like that.
Right.
And he had like 100 counts though. So maybe he was a little sick. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But they're giving him like murder, like he got a body. You know what I mean? He landed up with a lot of these guys. I was with the rapper Fetty Wap. I was with I became really good friends with him. I was with the Attorney General of Mexico, the President of Honduras. I said, what the fuck you doing in here, the President of Honduras? You know what I mean? The guy that hit the cop in the head with the machete, he was pretending in Manhattan, New Year's Eve. He chopped the cop in the head with the machete.
Fuck.
I was calling him Machete every time he walked past. It's a kid Tommy. He was harmless. I said, they said he's not that harmless. He was schizophrenic though. They're giving him 100 years. Cop didn't even die. They're going to give him like 100 years. Yeah. So you get a group of these, high profile people, and then you get Sam Bankman walked in there, like on the Forbes list. There's like worth like 20 billion. Everyone's going crazy. Like, oh my God, he's a billionaire. Talk to him. He's like a fucking weird guy though.
Yeah. He's there's something up. He's definitely autistic or something. He's off.
Yeah. He told me he was making $1 million a day. Legit.
Listen,
so that's it.
After FTX, collapse, like who knows what you can believe?
Yeah.
Maybe he is, but I don't think that's going to help him any. So you moved to Florida?
Yeah, I went down there. I was going back and forth. I was just being bad, and I went down to Florida and doing bad things, and then
you started the.
Oh, you're talking about now?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you meant when I was in Florida. Go. I was in Florida in 2014. I was just bad. Now I moved down to Florida. Yeah, I'm doing good things. Yeah,
you were doing the John and Gene show.
Not in Florida. I was living in New York.
Oh, okay.
When I first got out. When I first got out, I went back to my old neighborhood.
Right, but John A. Light's down here, right?
No,
he didn't live down here.
New Jersey.
It's Mike. Come on, Dowd. Mike Dowd lives here.
Yeah,
right?
he lives in Florida. Yeah.
Is John coming back here?
Yeah, he always comes back and forth. You know what I mean? But he's more in Jersey. He has a house in Jersey.
So you guys were doing the show.
We were doing the show. I was living in New York.
How did that stop? Like why did that stop?
The government.
Well, I understand. What happened? Like, does your PO come to you and say, what are you doing? Or they just come arrest you?
No, I screwed up too. I threatened to kill someone. I messed up. That's what happened.
But it happened.
But they were waiting for an excuse because they wanted me off the air. And when they did this, they basically violated me for that, but they really violated me for the John and Gene show. They gave me stipulations that you couldn't imagine, like 50 of them.
Right.
No organized crime talk. No this, can't go there. They gave me so many rules to keep me off that show because they waited for the slip up. I slipped up, and they used that as an excuse to ban me from the internet. No Instagram, no this, no that, no this. I was like, fuck you. I'm doing that shit still. I wouldn't even listen to them.
Right.
I was like, fuck, you're just being haters. I'm like, fuck you. I mean, literally. I tried to tell him, like, fuck you. Like, I did not listen to anything they told me to do.
Yeah, when you're saying the John, I was going to say, I've been doing this the whole time.
I walked out of jail. I did 4 months, 6 months house arrest, and I went back on to started doing shows. He says, fuck you. I'm listening to none of this shit. They violated me 2 weeks after I got out on new violations for going on doing podcasts. I'm not listening to you. You're not going to tell me that I can't. First, they tried to say I couldn't write a book.
Right.
Then my lawyer says, no, the Cohen Act, remember he wrote the book on Trump, they had to release him. You can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and honestly, you can't keep me from talking on what's essentially a news program.
It wasn't my prosecutors. It was this dickhead, Keith Edelman. He's a fucking dickhead. He was just thought he was like this fucking big chief now, big shot. He just kept on like coming at me. I don't know what it was. Lindsey Gertis would never have done that to me. I got along with her well. Nicole, neither. Not saying they were favoritism me, but they just weren't. This guy was just doing too much, man. And he just kept on coming at me. And, and I wouldn't listen to him.
Like so many people, they me, go to prison. Like when I was in prison, all the other con men or fraudsters, whatever you want to call them, right? They're in there going, trying to cover up, like, how am I going to hide the stuff that's on the internet about me? How am I going to restart my life? How am I going to basically get rid of this stuff so I can restart my life?
Right.
And what am I going to do? I'm going to sell cars. Maybe I can go to work here. Maybe I can eventually become a general contractor. Like, they're trying to bury all this and move on.
Right.
And I was like the only guy in there that was saying, fuck it, I'm leaning into it. I don't give a shit. I'm never going to shy away. I'm going to tell anybody that fucking wants to hear it. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, because my happiness is not dependent on how you feel about me.
Right.
So, and people say that, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. And I, got out of prison, got out of the halfway house, moved into someone's spare room, kept writing, started a podcast, did the whole thing. Just stuck with that because it was the first time I was getting out of it was the first time in my life where I didn't have $10,000 a month in bills.
Right.
And I could start with nothing, which was great actually, because I have no bills. So, and then I, started making an effort to actually get something done. And I've got multiple stories, and I've really busted my ass to try and get those stories up and running.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying, like, you get out of prison.
Right.
Like, honestly, like, I don't know if it
took off like a rocket ship.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they get out and they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't. Life happens. It's not that they don't mean to. It's not that they don't try. But sometimes life happens, and they can't follow through with it.
I'll tell you funny. When I was being sentenced, right, before you go see the judge, you sit in the back, with the prosecutors. And now my prosecutor, Nicole Argentieri, wasn't a prosecutor no more. She was a lawyer now. She switched over to become a big lawyer, whatever. And she sat with me and she goes, Gene, when you get out, you should do? You should be a mafia commentator, like a mafia. She goes, because you know so much. Right. She knew me very well, and it's so funny. She said, not with A-Light though. She wanted by yourself, because it's a violation. You got to follow the probation rules. But she told me, she says, this is what you should go into, because I was so involved. I was, for the modern day, I was like that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the crimes I was committing was like old school stuff. Nobody was doing that no more, really. Right. So I'm like an old school, new school guy. And I'm with all this modern day. We dress different, we act different, but I was doing old school shit. So I'm the only one with that. So when I came out and I got on with Johnny Eli and started doing these interviews, and I'm talking about shootings and things like that and crazy shit, they're like, wow, that still goes on in the mob? Well, we did it. Right. I'm the only one that really got it. So I took off like a rocket ship. When the Johnny and Gene show came out, I had an idea with Johnny. He says, let's get guests. Let's start putting other cooperators on here. Right. And that's when it really started taking off. And then Sammy Gavano was supposed to come on our show first. But then him and Eli got into an altercation. Other than that, and I went on a parole violation. Other than that, Sammy was coming on. I used to talk to Sammy's son all the time, Gerard. I was getting Sammy on Johnny and Gene show. Right. And I went away, and when I came out, everybody's fighting with each other. It's like this whole mall. Now it's like just everyone's out there, and it's like everyone's fighting with each other. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, YouTube wars. And then, like I said, my Instagram following is real. I have a huge Instagram. I get thousands of messages. I started getting a fan base all over the world, and they bothered the government. Right. They want me to go live on a farm and of course, they want you to work at Walmart. Right. They want you to work in the warehouse at Walmart. Well, and the agents just say, you had an easy life, Gene. You party most of your life. You made easy money. You know what I'm saying? Go work for it now. And they realized I wasn't working for it again. Right. And then I'm getting into all this this stuff. So when somebody, because let's face it, when I went to prison, I'm low profile. Right. I got fake identities. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody's reaching out to me. Nobody, because obviously I'm trying to commit my fraud and nobody's looking at me. But then you get out, you do a few podcasts. Those podcasts get a few million. Next thing you know, people are sending you messages. Like, to me, they're sending me messages. I don't know what you're getting. You're amazing, bro. Your story's amazing. Oh my God, it's got to be a movie. You're inspirational. And it's like, at first, how did you feel when that first week when those start coming in? What is your thought? Because I was like. Yeah, so I went on Instagram, and every time I look, it'd go up like 1,000 people. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? It just kept going boom, 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 because I started looking me up, and I guess my Instagram is on my Wikipedia now. I have like a Wikipedia, so now I'm starting Instagram, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, every fucking week it's going up like 2,000, 3,000 people. Right. I'm like, oh shit, this is getting serious. And then I started getting the DMs. Just we want you on our show. Now you're on your show, just like, yo, I love your shit. Modern day, no one has that. We always hear about the old stuff. You're the new guy. I can relate to you. I'm your age. Then you start getting people, yo, I'm from there. Remember we were together. And it just starts becoming like everybody wants to watch you and be in touch with you, and and then it got like crazy. autographing things, and then my book came out, and it sold thousands of fucking copies. You know,
how did the book come out? Like, did somebody approach you?
I wrote it in jail.
Okay.
So that was my plan originally, to write a book.
Right.
I did it with the guy Teddy DiBattoro. He was a hitman for the Philadelphia mob, actually. The guy that blew up the Chicken Man. He put the nail bomb under his stoop, they blew him up. And this guy, I
don't know who the Chicken Man is.
He was the boss of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And they blew him up with a nail bomb. And I was with the guy that made it and did it. And
okay.
it was like, you could look it up. It literally took out the whole first floor of his house.
So
it leveled the whole they said the whole block shook. That's how bad. Yeah, so I was with him.
So he wasn't fucking around.
He's actually a very smart guy, though. He actually helped me, sat with me every day with a typewriter. He's a lifer. They fucked him. He got life anyway. He
did blow up a building.
Well, no, I'm saying but but he cooperated and he got screwed. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
Philly had a bad cooperation thing, whatever at the time. He got screwed, but he sat with me every day with a typewriter. And we sat every day for like 2 hours a day, and we went through the whole thing. And it took me like a year almost to do it.
Yeah.
And then we had the thing, 350 pages, made it. When I came home, I hooked up with a family friend named Luis Romano, and then he sat with me, same thing, we went over it. And my cover of the book, I picked that, and everyone said, no, it's not going to work. That was the gold mine. The cover, everyone says that was genius. You know, the faces, the Welcome to Howard Beach sign, the people loved the cover, and it attracted a lot of attention. And when I came out with it, it sold, I think I have a bestseller. It's a bestseller. It sold over 10,000 copies. Autographed copies I sell to my Instagram. I sold hundreds of them. Hundreds of them.
Bro, isn't that weird? You don't like, to me, I thought it was so weird when people they're asking to meet me to get a picture of me with the book and sign the book, and I'm thinking, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, that felt so weird to me.
It's good. It's a good feeling, though, because then I was talking to kids out of suicide. I had a kid that was trying to kill himself in California. He looked up to me. I talked to him out of suicide. See, the government didn't want to talk about that stuff. I was talking to people out of rehabs. I was talking to kids that could relate to me. Like, yo, I feel like I can relate to you. You're my age. Because all these other guys were old. You know what I'm saying? Francis is 70. Johnny Light's in his 60s. All these guys that were out were old. I'm their generation. The way I dress, you know what I'm saying? So that was what I had. And that's why I blew up so fast. And nobody can understand, why is this kid so watched? Why is it? He wasn't a high rank. I was just a wild kid with some big names, but they just loved me.
Right.
My charisma, everything, and the women. They really love me. That's a bad part. Oh my God. Yeah, that's,
Well, all right, so you get out, you just got back out.
Right.
From your violation.
Right.
So, and like you said, everything's going nuts though. And I did a podcast the other day with Wade Williams, or what does he call him? Hollywood Wade, with Wade. And it's funny too, because like, I don't really know anything about this. Like I knew Merlino was out, right?
Right.
Like I had told you that I'd met him in prison, and I actually ate with him a few times, and so I knew he was out, and I found out he had started a channel because Wade said he started a channel,
right?
You know, and so I was like, oh, okay. And then Wade sent me a couple of things where he was, talking shit, calling this guy a rat, right. And I watched it. And he's like, bro, we should do a show on this. And I was like, okay. So I watched it and we did a show, and I was already talking to you because Pedge had said, this guy, when I did Pedge's thing, or was it before that? I think I want to say it was Pedge before he even got here. He said, he goes, this guy, Gene Borrello is, I said it right? Borrello?
Yeah.
He said I think he said St. Pete, but he is in Tampa. And I was like, oh, okay. So somebody gave me your thing. We had already talked once or twice, but you're all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
So.
And I had an ankle monitor on.
You had an ankle monitor. Yeah, we scheduled a thing, and the day before you couldn't come.
I'm always.
And I was like, I was like, bro, it's just outside of the county. You're like, they're not fucking around, bro. I'm not doing it. I was like, oh, okay.
They put me right in. Yeah. You know what's funny about that with the whole Joey Merlino situation is that he says he's talking for the good guys. The good guys are looking at him like, you're not a good guy no more. You're on YouTube. You're on the internet. Don't talk for us. This is a secret society. Why are you on the internet?
The good guys aren't good guys.
Yeah. Listen, he's broke. He's trying to make money. I understand, whatever. But he came at me, my friends, and they call me the 50 Cent of this genre.
Okay.
I am a foul-mouthed, disrespectful guy. I don't care about who you are, what your title is. I used to rob gangsters. I don't look at you any different. To me, you're the boss of Philly. You're nothing. Right. You're a peon. I'm being honest with you. That's how we look at Philly. There's 17 guys, members. We have that in one neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? We look down upon the Philadelphia mob. You know, New York is the elite. You take our scraps. You're like you have to answer to us. So you're a boss. You're really like a soldier in a family. That's all you really are. You know what I mean? So I don't look at him nothing special. You know what I mean? To me, he's nothing. And if he ever ran into me and got disrespectful, I would fucking crack him in 2 seconds.
Why do you?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying is, why do you think? Do you just think mentally he's just not capable of being?
He's 62 years old. He's 5'4". He's 130 pounds. Am I really gonna be like, oh my God, it's Joey Merlino? I'm so scared. Like, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, but
like,
why not? Why do you think he didn't just go on? He could have gone on and just interviewed people and been polite and nice.
Because he knows. Because listen, he's not a dummy. He wants to. What sells in this business is controversy. I was gonna get to why people really like me, because controversy. I'm very. Say what I want. Be disrespectful. That's what people love. They don't want to hear about, oh, you know, I'm in politics now and I'm doing this. They don't want to hear shit. They don't want to hear about the shoot. They want to hear the crazy stuff. They want to hear you arguing with people and doing this. So he knew that. So he wanted to come out like, I'm talking for the good guys. Fuck these guys. He tried to embarrass Mike Francis.
Right.
He talked bad about Sonny Francis. When I tell you that's like Jesus Christ in the mafia.
Right.
For him saying that, it was like so corny. Like you just.
Well, he didn't really have a respect for anybody. I mean, I've spent time.
Nobody has respect for him.
I've spent time sitting at a table with him, and for an hour, fucking hour and a half straight, he did nothing but fucking just negative bullshit, talking shit about every fucking person.
I had them so mad because I put a picture of him in a Cinderella dress, right? That Snuff messaged me on Instagram, and he sent a Christmas card. And they got my signature off the internet and made it like I sent them a Christmas card.
Right.
I said, listen, you fat little fuck, I would never send you anything. I said, okay. I said, you better stop thinking you're like tough because of Joey Merlino. Like, you're not. You know what I mean? I'm not just all this. You bump into me and try something, I'll slap the fuck out of you. Like, it's not going to be what you think. I don't know, these little fake stories you hear. Like, I'm hands-on. Like, don't disrespect me. You're not going to come and abuse me. It's never happened in my life. It's not going to happen now. So you're going to come at me, Joey Merlino, think you're like this big tough guy. I'm going to embarrass the shit out of you. Okay, I'm going to say things that you've never been heard before in your life that I'm going to tell you. And I'm doing it now. Nobody's coming at him, only me.
Right.
I'm talking about his wife, everything. I'm going to get brutal. I'm going to get brutal. And I'm going to make you not want to be on YouTube no more.
He doesn't.
He don't, because of what I said. Yeah. They can say whatever they want. I chased them off that internet because I said something that hurt his feelings really bad. You're not a respected boss when everyone's banging your wife while you're in jail. Right. Bottom line. Nobody respects you. Okay? That's just what it is. If people respect and feared you, they wouldn't even look at your wife. Okay? You got the whole state of Philadelphia going after her while you're in jail. How much respect and fear you? Think about that. Yeah. If somebody fears you and respects you, why would they do something like that? Obviously, they don't, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
So he said he's moving. They're moving their platform to Patreon. Like
yeah, the other day they put something on TikTok. Wait, this is the best one. Who else could do it like we do it? They're in a Uber going to a Dolphins game. Oh, oh my God. Wow, you're balling. You're killing it out there. Let me tell you. You went to a Dolphins game. All right. Wow, in an Uber. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
They're balling.
I mean, what's so funny is all of his fanboys, like, they started leaving comments on my shit. But and they're all like, you know, because I had said that, look, I mean, I personally know that, like, he doesn't have any money.
No,
like,
he
just
don't.
Doesn't. Like, they're like, oh, he's driving this. I'm like, no, he's not. He's driving somebody else's vehicle.
You know
he's living
how many
in
messages I
place.
get from people in Philadelphia giving me dirt on him?
Oh, yeah.
A guy from Philly sent me the picture of him in that dress. They hate him over there. They give me things to talk about him about. They're like, yo, bro, we love that you abuse this guy. He's a fucking asshole. They can't stand him over there. That's all persona. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's hysterical, but he picked the wrong guy. With me, I'll never stop. I'm relentless. They know that. I'll never stop. Like, literally, I'll never stop. Like, you're going to have to just don't say nothing no more because I will just keep going. This is fun to me. I love drama. I love beef. Let's go. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. It don't matter to me. So when he came at Mike Francis, that was a low blow because Mike Francis was trying to be like classy about it. And like, hey, listen, you're in this world now. Come sit with me. And he's like, oh, I don't never go on this fucking rap show. Bro, you're on the fucking internet telling stories too, bro. Like, shut the fuck up. You're not even recognized no more. Like give it a break, bro.
Yeah,
you know?
I was talking to Tom.
Yeah.
A couple. Well, actually yesterday, and it's the same thing. Like, look, it's, you know, and we talked about this, is that, like, it's dead. Like they crushed it. Like you said, I said it, basically the mob now is like a boutique street game.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know.
Like I said, look, we call it the last hurrah. It cut off in like the 2000s, like 2014, 15, 16, I want to say, like it's completely like washed up. Like,
and these guys are, they're milking the last, they're getting the last drop out of it by going on YouTube, telling their stories. And I listen, and I get it. Like, you know, it's money. You want to tell your stories. Listen, I make a living just telling stories and interviewing guys. Like it's a good living. It's a decent living.
I'm cashing in.
Right.
I'm cashing in. I'm going to be honest with you. People like took such a liking into my book and everything about me and my whole life being related. I was like the perfect storm almost. I'm related to a high profile gangster. I work for high profile gangsters. My cousin was a fucking nut coming up. All my friends related. And then I came out with this book for the modern day, and it grabbed the attention of some actors and people. And, you know, it's not just talk. Now it's like producers are all like this.
Right.
And I mean, not just one producer, not 5 producers, like 15 fucking producers. Everyone's just like, all right, when's this happening? We got money to give. Like, we want this to happen. So I'm working on a modern day Sopranos.
Yeah,
that's what
I was just
going to
say the Sopranos had such a long run and was such an amazing series. I'm sure they're looking for something else since then.
People think I'm dumb, like think I'm just this dumb street guy because I have, you know, maybe I talk differently, whatever. I'm actually kind of smart, and I had this plan going for a couple of years, but I kept getting delayed. And I had this idea, and I kept saying, nobody has this. Everyone talks about the 70s, the 80s, the 60s. What happened in the 90s, the 2000s? I got all those stories. I got everything. So I put it together. I'm putting a pilot together, and it's going to be about the heydays of the 90s and the 2000s. And it's going to be about all names that everyone knows and neighborhood things, and it's going to be like a TV show. And it's going to be fucking good, you know what I mean? And people are going to go crazy over it. And it's going to be on a big platform, not no little platform. We're talking possibly HBO, Netflix, something in that nature, where it's not going to be some little you know, bullshit show. It's going to be something big.
All right. When is this?
So it's literally, I just literally am signing like things now, and we're working on the pilot, and they're trying to film by June, like get things rolling. Not saying on that platform, but to get the episodes actually rolling.
Right.
And you know, I'm going to be controlling a lot of it. You know, I want to make it real as possible. I don't want it to look like Gravesend. That's what I don't want it to look like. You know, it's not going to be no $3 show. I want it to be real deal. You know,
do they have an actor to play you? Or are they looking?
We're looking. Everyone's, you know, like I said, it's going to be, I'm going to use like street guys.
Right.
A lot of the guys that I'm going to be using are going to be guys that were in the street.
Yeah.
Actually street dudes. I'm not using, there's going to be actors, but I'm going to more or less use guys that were actually getting busy, that actually could just do this genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, me just being myself. And
I'm trying to think there was a movie where because you know that there are like LA street guys that are LA gangsters or former gangsters are actually like extras that sign up to be
all
extras.
The time.
Yeah.
All the time.
So you'll see these guys in the background as a part of the crew who really did like 14, 15 years and really, you know, been in and out.
Right? Well, that makes it look so authentic.
Well, yeah, because
and that's what I want. Don't get me wrong. There's gonna be actors, but like for the most part, I want people involved in this that actually can just be themselves and make it look genuine. And people know about the show, and people are reaching out to me like, "Yo, I want to be a part of this."
Right.
And I'm talking about they were some tough dudes. I'm talking about some tough dudes like, "Yo, come on, man, let's do this." You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, when it gets rolling, I got to put you in front of people and, you know, see how it looks on you know, and everything. And this is really gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how much? Think about it. How much does that pull people in when they're able to say, you know, "Hey, that's John A. Hey, that's so and so." So, you know, even if it's just a bit part, he's on for 2 episodes. He's got a small thing.
Right.
Even that, now you've got his fan base going and watching.
Well, that's what they're trying to say. Like, my fan base is big. So, like, I play around on TikTok. I play around. I have like over 1 million views in like a month. I play around on it. They just attracted to my stories. You know what I'm saying? People love to hear me talk and the way I act. And I have a fan base that when the show comes out, it's going to follow right into it. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a gold mine, and they all believe in it. Everyone that's a part of it. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah,
I still think you got to start a podcast too.
Yeah, I know.
You got to parlay
Johnny,
this into a podcast.
Me and Johnny, like I says, we're going to start doing some things again together. We're going to be sitting down together and, you know, doing it. And
but there's a whole slew of people that hate A-Light. Just hate
That's
him.
fine.
And here's the funny thing is like, I like him. Like I've always had good conversations. He's always been polite. He's always been
Me and
nice.
him were going into restaurants in Brooklyn. Okay, doing a John Gene show. We were going to Peter Luger's where people hang out all the time. We didn't give a fuck. We were going all over. We didn't care. It's like, we don't give a shit. Like, you ain't doing nothing. Like, go live your little lives. Like, we don't care. We're filming in Brooklyn. We're filming in Queens. We didn't care. We were going wherever we wanted, restaurants, Howard Beach. I didn't care. Like, I don't. You know what I mean? So, it's not that era for that no more.
Yeah,
you know, you don't have a hit squad. These guys ain't busting grapes, half of them. You know what I'm saying? So, what am I worried about? You were sending me to do all the violence.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not here now. You're not there.
I'm not a blood or a cripple. I got to worry about them coming by with machine guns. You know, like those gang members are still bad. You know what I'm saying? That's different. The mob is washed up. You know, so like now I'm just making money off my prior life, and I have the goods, and you know I'm cashing in on it. I don't give a fuck. That's it.
But
I started a question to clarify. So Joey Merlino, they're not doing YouTube anymore?
I think he's back on it already.
Yeah, so what happened was like a week ago, he came out, which will probably be a couple weeks when this comes out, but he came out on Instagram and they did a video where Merlino basically said that he's been not blackballed, they reported his
videos.
Right.
I didn't even look. Right. Honestly,
and well, you know what he was saying is like, you can't cuss, they're getting demonetized. Okay, well my videos get demonetized.
You know what he's doing? He wants everyone to go to Patreon so he can make money. He's going to charge $15 a person. He wants everyone to go watch him on there so he can make money. It's all a fucking scam. Yeah. He's back on YouTube, I heard already, but he does not like the things I'm saying. I already know for a fact, I got word that he's like bugging out over the things that I'm saying because I guess he never heard this stuff before in his life. But I'm going to say those things.
You surround yourself with yes men. You never really get the truth.
I don't really give a fuck. I'll tell him to his face. I don't care. It's if you're going to play this game, we can play this game. I don't care. You know, you're talking to Mike Francis is 70 years old. All these other guys, they're older. I'm 39 years old. You know what I mean? You're 62 years old. You're 5'4". You think I really care about you? Like, honestly. Like, am I really worried about you? Like, I'm fighting. I just, the other day, a situation, I fought a bouncer. He looked like a fucking car. Do I really care about, like, you know what I mean? It's like, come on. You know? Not worried about it.
So Merlino is, what he's saying is, he's saying that he wants to get off, and then he was going to move everything and say, we're going to go to Patreon. Here's the problem. It's hard to build a Patreon, you know?
So hard.
So hard. Exactly. So I think what's happening is that whoever's running, and you could tell just the quality, whoever's running that YouTube channel, like the audio sucks, the doing them, you know, if you want to do a video in a restaurant setting, it's got to be closed.
Yeah.
You either have to have amazing mics, 2 or 3 mics, like you've got to really have it set up. They're not doing it correctly. Some of their interviews, they can't even put them up. They got to take them back down. They're so bad.
Yeah.
Even when it's just them quiet, the audio sucks. The video is not great. You know, he doesn't present himself well. He wants to talk about sports betting. Nobody gives a fuck about.
Bro, he's never won a bet.
Right. I've heard that from everybody across the board.
He owes every bookie money. I talk to people over there. He says he owes everybody money. He's the worst bettor. He's giving picks. He did nothing but lose.
It's true.
Yes.
I've never heard anybody say,
yeah, and then he got his little partner over there, Snuff. He's so annoying, that little guy. Merlino! I'm like, where did I get this? He's a used car salesman or something like that. He's like, where did you get this guy?
Right.
You know, so like I said, you know, he picked the wrong beef because, like I said, I won't stop. I mean, if they want to keep going, I'll just keep going. And
I mean, look, listen. I mean,
to me, it's funny because I know they ain't gonna do shit. You
aside from that,
yeah.
If he did it correctly,
right,
he could have a good channel. But he's mentally, and you know, you've been in and out of prison, bro. And you've dealt with people that you know they're on the fringes of society, and you know you're looking at the guy like there's a situation and he's handling it absolutely the wrong way.
Right.
And some people are just mentally not capable of making a decision in their best interest. And that honestly, that's Merlino.
Right.
He can't seem to, it's like, this is all you have to do. It's not difficult. You'll make $40,000 a month in a year.
Nah.
He can't do it.
No. He's not. He's broke right now. I heard from several people.
And he's going to stay broke. With his attitude, he's going to stay broke.
Right.
You know, I get the controversy. That's fine. Do the audio correctly. Interview some people. Like, you can still pull this off. He's not able, mentally, he's not able to do it.
I think he's also getting a lot of backlash. Well, let's think about this, for instance, and I'll break it down for you. And I said this to somebody the other day, and they're like, wow. Think about you and Joey Merlino's crew.
Right.
And you're on a case with him, and you're like, I look up to Joey, man. Fucking, that's my guy. I'm going to take this 30 years. I'm going to take this 20 years. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Okay? All of a sudden, you're in the feds laying down. Hey, bro, your boss is on YouTube in a fucking Cinderella dress.
Right.
What the fuck is going on right now? What? Joey's on YouTube? What the fuck I take this time for? Wow, I'm over here. This is my guy. I look up to this guy. He's a fucking joke. Think about how guys feel I took time for this guy when he was the boss. Think about that. I told somebody that, they're like, wow. I said, yeah. Think about guys that took time for this guy. And now he's in drag. This guy's a clown now. It's like, what the fuck am I? I'm serving time now in prison for this guy. I held it down for this guy, and this is what he's doing? Making fools out of us? Everybody in the feds is making fun of him. You know it. He's on YouTube. He's talking like, this is like, oh, I'm a joke. Our crew's a joke. So think about that. So I'm sure people are fucking furious that did time for him or doing time for him right now.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're probably fucking bugging out. Like, I took time for this joke. He's on the fucking internet. He's putting up stupid things and all this shit.
I'm calling. He's not putting no money on my books.
Yeah,
he's not
you kidding me? People
calls.
are probably furious right now with him. You know, he's not going to say that, but I know the other world. I know how it works. New York ain't going to recognize him. He'll never be able to sit at a table with a wise guy and have a sit down for anybody. They'll tell him, get this asshole out of here. Straight up. I know the game.
Right.
No captain, no respected captain is going to sit with a guy doing shows. It's not happening. I go, fuck what anyone tells me. I sat with the best. It's not happening. My Vinny Sarah tell him, get this asshole out of here. He's like, I don't even recognize you. That's how we talk. You know what I mean? So, you know, he could say what he wants to people from Kentucky and California that watch him and, you know, Louisiana that don't have a clue. But, you know, we know how it works.
So right now you got a huge Instagram presence.
Yeah.
You're doing podcasts. And you got the book out.
Bestseller.
So I mean, yeah. What we'll do is we'll leave links to in the description box. We'll leave links to all that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
And anything else?
No.
Anybody else you want to bash? Yeah. I mean, are you sure we can go back to Marlena?
No, You
want to give me a copy of the dress, of the picture of the dress? I can throw it. We can put it up on the screen.
You know, like I said, you know, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm happy the way everything turned out for me right now. I'm loving it.
Yeah, bro. You got to know you're blessed, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of things have lined up. Like
absolutely.
You know, I mean, look, and part of that, I'm sure, you know, I know you feel like, hey, this part of that is, it's by design. Lots of people have designs. Like there's like lots of people go out. Like it's a lot of it is planning, you know, and execution, and it's some luck.
Right.
Like you got to realize like you're blessed to be in the position you're in. It could have gone bad.
A lot of people I talk to, you know what they say also? I have the it factor. I just have that charisma.
Well, I said you have you have the look, you have the talk.
I got lucky. I just got lucky with that, and maybe this is what I was meant to be. You know what I mean? So like it is what it is. I'm happy about it. I feel like I'm about to take off. I'm finally off probation. They can't control me no more. They were torturing me with everything. Now I'm free, and that's it. I'm like a rocket ship. I'm just going up. That's it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Also, please consider joining my Patreon. It really does help. We're going to leave all of Gene's links in the description. Leave me a comment, share the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. See ya.